I knew it the instant my phone buzzed again, another message from him. But like always, it felt like it had come from another lifetime. "I'm sorry," it said, and even the text carried the weight of centuries. My heart, which I thought had learned to guard itself, betrayed me instantly, hammering against my ribs with an urgency that mocked all my attempts at control. I had learned to live with the vanishings. I had learned to survive the holes he left behind, and yet, each time, it tore me apart anew. Sometimes he would vanish for hours, sometimes days, sometimes years. And now, the fear creeping into me was heavier than ever. I remember the first time it happened. I'd smiled, that crooked smile, the one that made every room feel warmer, and then he was gone. Not literally, but somehow, impossibly, inexplicably. His presence slipped through my fingers as if reality itself had decided he wasn't meant to stay. I had searched for him in every corner of our small American town, under the fading neon signs of diners, along the cold riverbanks at midnight, and in the crowded libraries where he used to linger with his messy hair falling over his eyes. Every time, I found only traces. A scarf, a dropped notebook, a faint scent of his cologne clinging stubbornly to the air. And each time he returned, it was like meeting a stranger who somehow knew all my secrets. His laughter would fill the space between us, disarming me, and I would forget the ache, forget the absence that had driven me to the edge. But now I wasn't going to let it happen again. I could feel it in my bones, a recklessness born of desperation. The city was sprawling around me, indifferent to the centuries of stolen moments we had shared. I would chase him across timelines, across lives if I had to. I would break the cruel loops fate had stitched for us. Tonight, the streets smelled of rain and asphalt, a scent that always reminded me of the night he first kissed me under the flickering light of the old street lamp. He had pressed his hand to mine, fingers brushing in a tentative dance, eyes searching for permission I hadn't known I had to give. And the kiss, brief, soft, infinitesimal, had left me shaking, unmoored, already craving more than I could bear to ask for. I saw him now, across the street, leaning against the corner of a brick building. His blonde hair caught the neon glow, haloed in a way that made my chest tighten. He looked at me with that same teasing smirk, that signature arrogance, yet his eyes betrayed the flicker of guilt, the silent apology for what he would inevitably do. I crossed the street without thinking. Rain-slicked asphalt reflected the city lights, and my shoes slapped against it in a rhythm that matched the frantic beat of my heart. He didn't move as I approached, letting the world shrink to just the two of us, to the stolen seconds we were both desperate to claim. "You're late," I said, trying to mask the trembling in my voice. "I could say the same," he replied, that teasing edge still in his tone. But the joke fell flat between us. The tension, the longing, the impossible knowledge that this might be the last moment before he vanished again, made his words hollow. I stepped closer, daring to close the distance that fate had always exploited. Our hands brushed, and I wanted to hold on it just for a few minutes, not just for tonight but forever. "You don't get it, do you?" I whispered, a plea more than a question. "I can't keep losing you. Not again. Not like this." He looked away, a fleeting shadow crossing his features. "I don't know how to stay," he admitted softly. "It's like the world pulls me apart from you, no matter how hard I try." "I'll fight it," I said, gripping his wrist gently, afraid to be too forceful but unwilling to let go. "I don't care what it takes. I'll fight time, fate, everything. I'll find a way to keep you here." For a long moment, the city seemed to hold its breath with us. The distant hum of traffic, the drip of rain from the gutters, even the faint neon buzz, all of it faded into a fragile cocoon around our small, desperate intimacy. His eyes met mine, shimmering with unshed tears, reflecting the flicker of a hope I hadn't dared to believe in until now. "I want that," he said, voice barely above a whisper, and it was enough to make the world feel like it could tilt on its axis. "I want us." And in that moment, I swore to myself that nothing, not time, not destiny, not even his inexplicable disappearances, would take him away from me again. The night wrapped around us, heavy with possibility, and I felt the first, tentative spark of something I had thought lost forever: hope, real and dangerous and alive. The first drops of rain soaked us, but I didn't care. I held his hand tighter, feeling the warmth seep into my bones, grounding me in a reality I had feared was slipping away. Every vanishing, every cruel tug of fate, had led to this fragile moment, and I wasn't going to let it shatter. "I've been running," he confessed, voice trembling. "Running from myself, from everything I can't control. Every time I disappear, I think I'm protecting you, keeping you safe from the chaos I carry." I shook my head, pressing my forehead to his. "You don't protect me by leaving. You hurt me. But more than that, you hurt yourself. We don't have to face this alone. Not anymore." His eyes, bright and anxious, searched mine as if looking for permission, for reassurance, for a lifeline. I gave it willingly, a promise made in the quiet intimacy of a soaked city street. "I'll face it with you. Every shadow, every impossible second. We'll rewrite whatever's trying to pull us apart." He let out a shaky laugh, the kind that trembles between relief and disbelief. "You're insane," he whispered. "Completely reckless, chasing me like this." "And completely in love with you," I countered, smirking despite the lump in my throat. "You should know by now, I'll never let you go again." For a moment, he said nothing, just let his hand rest in mine, feeling the steady pulse of my determination. Then, almost imperceptibly, he leaned closer, resting his forehead against mine. "I've missed this," he murmured. "Missed you. Missed us." The rain fell harder, drumming against the pavement and our shoulders, yet it felt less like a storm and more like a cleansing. Time had tried to separate us. Destiny had tried to bend our lives apart. But here we were, breathing the same air, fingers entwined, hearts beating in the same chaotic rhythm. "I'm done disappearing," he said finally, a resolute edge to his voice that made my chest tighten with hope. "No more vanishings. No more running. I want to stay if you'll let me." "I'll let you," I replied, pulling him closer. "I want you here, every day, every second. No more timelines, no more excuses. Just us." We didn't speak for a while, letting the city noise fade into a distant hum, letting the rain wash away all the ghosts of our past absences. And then, as if the universe itself had finally loosened its grip, he kissed me. Slow, tender, deliberate, every second a declaration, every heartbeat a vow. The kind of kiss that feels like it could rewrite centuries, that could mend the holes time had left in our lives. When we pulled back, we rested our foreheads together, laughing softly through the residue of tears and rain. "You're really going to fight time for me?" he asked, disbelief still lacing his voice. "I'll fight anything for you," I said, smiling. "Even fate itself. It's us now, not some cruel joke played by the universe." His eyes softened, glimmering with unshed tears, and he reached up to brush a wet strand of hair from my face. "Then I guess I'm all in too," he whispered, his lips curving into the kind of smile that had haunted my dreams and fueled my every despair. We walked slowly through the empty streets, letting the rain cling to us like a shared secret, letting the cool night air mingle with the warmth of our closeness. Hands entwined, hearts synchronized, we finally allowed ourselves the simple, terrifying, beautiful act of being present together, fully, without hesitation. The rest of the night passed in quiet laughter, whispered confessions, and touches that were gentle and yet charged with the intensity of lives nearly lost to the cruel whim of time. I realized, as we finally stood under the faint glow of the lamppost where it had all begun, that we had survived not in spite of the vanishings, but because of them, because they had taught us what it meant to want, to fight, and to hold on. He leaned his head on my shoulder, and I tightened my arm around him. "So, we really did it," he murmured. "Yes," I said softly, watching the rain run down the pavement like silver threads. "We beat it. We beat time. And now we have forever." For the first time, I believed it. The vanishings were gone, the cruel patterns broken, and all that remained was the quiet magic of our love, imperfect, real, and ours. And as the city lights reflected in puddles around us, We stayed there, holding on, finally unafraid of the world or its tricks, finally unafraid of each other. And in the rhythm of our breathing, the gentle clasp of our hands, and the soft pulse of our hearts, I knew we had found something timeless, something no disappearance could ever steal again. We were home in each other's arms at last. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.